Mackey from Maniacal Reader, and this is my review of Shatter Me and Destroy Me, which is the first book in this bind-up of the 2 short novellas to go along with the trilogy. The first part of this review is going to be spoiler-free, and I'll warn you when the spoilers are coming up. Shatter Me follows a girl named Juliet. Juliet has the power to kill people by touching them with her hands. Juliet, at the start of the story, is locked in a prison under the Re-establishment. The Re-establishment is the corrupt government who's in charge in this world. Juliet has been trapped in this prison for over a year and hasn't touched anyone in over a year. She is in this prison because she was transferred from an asylum. Juliet has abusive parents, and throughout her life, everyone avoided her. So Juliet has never had friends or people that she could count on. She led a lonely life and has had to witness difficult things. Her parents got her locked away in an asylum because of an incident that happened a few years ago where she killed a little boy in a grocery store without meaning to. This is before she realized everything about her power. Since then, the world has been afraid of her, calling her insane and crazy, and the truth is, Juliet is not insane. A man who is in charge of the Re-establishment, named Warner, is fascinated by Juliet and her power and everything that's happened to her. He's sort of become interested in her as a pet project, and that's why he's keeping her in a prison. Warner decides to provide her with a roommate. The roommate's name is Adam Kent. Juliet recognizes Adam Kent when she meets him in the prison. Adam and Juliet always went to school together. Juliet has been secretly in love with Adam Kent since forever. She's never spoken to him. Adam has always wanted to talk to Juliet, and he's secretly been in love with her as well. But he's never had the courage to talk to her. They strike up a romance. Warner, the guy who's in charge of the Re-establishment and who's fascinated with Juliet, gives her a proposition. He will let her out of his prison if she agrees to be sort of a weapon for him and chooses to kill other people. This is basically the setup for this book. I really liked Juliet and Adam's romance in this book. I thought that their connection was genuine and that he was sweet. I also liked the writing style in this book. There are words and sentences in this book that are striked out, and it gives the main character, Juliet, a more authentic voice and a voice that's really genuine. If you haven't read this book, I suggest you stop watching this review and leave now, since the spoiler discussion is now going to begin. As I said before, Juliet and Adam strike up a romance with each other. At first, Juliet is scared that she'll kill him if she touches him. But eventually, they realize that they can touch, and their romance evolves from there. They decide to leave the establishment and escape. In order to do this, Juliet has to pretend that she agrees with Warner's plans, even though she isn't. When escaping, Juliet shoots Warner. Warner's skin somehow gently presses against Juliet without harming him, so Juliet realizes that he can touch or be touched by Warner without harming him. The reader doesn't really know what Warner's motivations for using Juliet as a weapon. Juliet eventually learns that Adam volunteered to be Juliet's roommate since he's a soldier with the Reestablishment. He didn't know what Warner's plans were for Juliet, and he just wanted to make sure she was okay. Kenji leads Adam and Juliet to the rebellion group that's against the Reestablishment called Omega Point. I thought he was really funny, and he was always making sexual innuendo comments towards Juliet because he thinks she's hot. But this annoyed Juliet at first. This was sort of like a comedic relief over everything that was happening in this book, so I really like Kenji. I really liked when Adam and Juliet met the leader of the rebellion group named Castle. I think he's a great leader for Omega Point, and he seems really genuine. He has a clear vision for Omega Point, and I think that sometimes his directions or his orders confuse or annoy Juliet, and she sometimes wants to rebel against them. I also liked the character of James, Adam's little brother in this book. He just seemed like the typical innocent 10-year-old who isn't influenced by all the bad stuff that's happening in this book, and I think he was just a really sweet character. I enjoyed this book overall. It's a very action-packed and suspenseful read, and I couldn't stop turning the pages. I enjoyed it very much. I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. After reading Shatter Me, I started reading Destroy Me, which is the first novella in this novella bind-up called Unite Me. Destroy Me follows the events in between the first and second book in the trilogy, but they're told from Warner's point of view. I enjoyed reading this novella and seeing things from Warner's point of view. In this book, Warner somehow stumbles on Juliet's journal. Juliet's journal is about all of her experiences in the asylum that her parents sent her to, and while reading it, Warner shows his emotional side, and a little bit of humanness and empathy comes through. And while he's reading her journal, it shows that he genuinely has love for Juliet and doesn't like all the experiences that she's been through. In some instances, he finds reading her journal to be difficult. Since he finds that reading parts of Juliet's journal to be difficult, he comes to the conclusion that his father thinks his fascination with Juliet is silly. His experiment or his fascination with her is not yielding any results. Warner's father realizes that his feelings for Juliet are deepening and blossoming into a crush or love, and he doesn't like that. So Warner sees that his father is determined to find Juliet now that she's escaped and eventually kill her if Warner's feelings for Juliet go too far. By the end of this novella, it's clear to the reader that Warner wants to find Juliet before his father does, so that his father doesn't kill her, and he actually wants to save her instead of being obsessed with her for his own agenda. I liked this novella a lot because in the first book, Shatter Me, the reader didn't really have a clear idea as to what Warner's motivations are for using her as a weapon to kill other people, and I think this first novella, Destroy Me, allowed readers to get into Warner's head, and by the end of my time reading it, I actually liked Warner as a character, but I also like Adam's romance with Juliet, so right now, for me, it's kind of a toss-up as to who Juliet should be with. The author just made things interesting by making readers appeal to Warner's character. I love Warner as a character, and I can't wait to see what happens in Unravel Me. That's the end of my review on Shatter Me by Tara Maffey and the first novella, Destroy Me. I hope you guys enjoyed this review, and I'll catch you guys in my next video. Bye! For every night